I stood outside the Grand Bellevue Hotel, watching black tie servers glide effortlessly through the golden-lit entrance. Just beyond the lavish glass doors, a string quartet played something elegant, airy, beautiful but empty. Straightening my tie, I stepped forward and handed my invitation to the usher. He glanced at it, then at me. "Sir," he said with measured courtesy, "your name isn't on the list." I blinked, uncertain I'd heard him correctly. "Come again." He repeated it, same sentence, only this time the warmth had drained from his voice. Cold. Mechanical. Baffled, I stepped to the side and pulled out my phone. I dialed my ex-wife. She answered, chuckled once, then said, "Yes, that's right. This is for real family." I waited, thinking it was a joke. Then I heard him, her new husband, speaking in the background, "Go home. We'll send you leftovers." I didn't answer. I hung up, turned around, and walked away. 21 years. That's how long I'd been her father. Doctor visits, school performances, campus tours. I was there for every milestone. I paid for every piano lesson, every late-night worry, every bandage, every single part of the wedding she was celebrating tonight. And when she got engaged, I didn't protest. Not the expensive venue, the swollen guest list, not even Elliot, the overly confident finance bro with a bargain haircut and a six-figure paycheck. She claimed she loved him. Or maybe she just believed she did. So I kept my opinions to myself. I signed checks in silence. I made space. Faded into the background like a sponsor, not a parent. But I noticed. I noticed when the text replies became rare, when calls were missed without explanation, when our last dinner ended in a rushed embrace and a distracted, "Thanks, Dad." Something shifted after her mother remarried. After that man moved into the house I built with my own two hands. She started calling him Dad. At first, it was a slip, right in front of me. She didn't correct it. Not then, not after. It cut deep. But I swallowed it, telling myself it didn't change who I was. Until tonight. I returned home to a quiet, empty house. My suit jacket was draped over a chair. The air felt hollow, like it echoed every betrayal. I didn't cry, didn't drink. Instead, I opened my laptop. First, I canceled the final payment to the hotel, 40% of the total. They called me in under an hour, voices panicked. I told them it was an accounting mistake. I'd check on it. I didn't. Next, I accessed the trust account. The one originally created for her college fund, later reallocated for the wedding. It still held a large balance. I'd been generous. Too generous. Her name wasn't on the account. Mine was. I moved the funds. Then I reached out to my lawyer. A quiet, precise man who owed me a favor and never asked why. A week before the wedding, I'd hired a private investigator, not because I suspected cheating, but because I trusted patterns more than promises. And Elliot had patterns. He worked late, yet never seemed worn out. Took business trips to events that didn't exist. And he had a second phone. That part was easy to uncover. 3 days before the ceremony, I received a full report. Photos. Same woman, multiple cities, always the same intimacy. Hotels, hand-holding, closeness. The investigator handed over a neat file. Timeline, screenshots, a notarized affidavit. I didn't say a word. Not to my daughter. Not to my ex. Instead, I forwarded the file to Elliot's father. An old-school patriarch. Old money. Deeply Catholic. Image-obsessed. I knew he'd open it. And I knew exactly when he'd confront his son. At 6:17 p.m., while guests were sipping champagne under crystal chandeliers I funded, Elliot received a manila envelope. At 6:22 p.m., he and his father disappeared down a service hallway. At 6:34 p.m., the officiant was told there would be a slight delay. At 6:41 p.m., My phone rang. My ex-wife's voice was trembling, sharp with panic. "What did you do?" she asked. I let silence answer for me. Then I said, "Tell your husband the leftovers are in the fridge." The wedding was cancelled on the spot. No reasons were given. Just a stunned announcement, whispers, and stunned silence. My daughter ran out a side door in tears. Elliot's family demanded refunds. Vendors halted service mid-event. But I didn't feel rage. I felt clarity. Freedom. Days passed. I ignored knocks at the door. Ignored emails and calls. Eventually, my daughter appeared. No makeup. No pride. Just broken pieces of herself. "Why didn't you tell me?" she asked, voice trembling. I looked at her, really looked, and said, "You wouldn't have listened." She cried. I let her. Because growing up means realizing who stood in your corner, and who stood in your way. I didn't say I forgave her. Didn't say I was sorry. Instead, I handed her a sealed envelope. A letter she wrote at 13. "Dear Dad, I love you more than anything." Her handwriting. Still innocent. Still raw. I watched her read it. Watched her memory shatter under its weight. I never needed praise. I just needed her to remember. And now she will. Every anniversary that never happens. Every what if echoing in her chest. She'll remember who paid for the fairy tale, and who dismantled it, piece by piece, without shouting, without fury. Justice doesn't always come with flashing lights and handcuffs. Sometimes it arrives in silence, wearing a suit and walking away.